Hello and welcome to the show. Listen, I'm so glad that you could join us today. You know, we've got a great show planned for you, but I always tell you that before we get started, this year is all about being intentional. That means doing what God has in store for you and just doing the things that you love to do, the things that you want to do, anything that you have on your mind. You've got to be intentional about doing. You've got to make a push to make sure that you're going to do it and keep moving. Don't give up. And so today's show, we have a phenomenal guest with us, co-authors of the book, yes, South Carolina's Matilda Evans, a medical pioneer. So I'm going to introduce you to the authors when they come back, Dr. Walter B. Curry Jr., Miss Anusha Ghosh, and of course, Mrs. Beverly Aiken Muhammad. They're our guests for this evening, and I hope you just sit back, relax, and enjoy because it's coming up next.
Get ready for a powerful weekend of inspiration and empowerment. The SAFE organization presents the Women and Girls Empowerment Weekend. She leads, she speaks, she inspires. Kick off the weekend with a benefit gospel concert on June 27th at 7 p.m. at Stevenson Auditorium, 979 Middleton Street, Orangeburg, South Carolina. Featuring the dynamic Kalante Gavin. With opening artist Tanya Caesar. Then join us for the Empowerment Summit on June 28th at 10 a.m. at Claflin University Student Center, 1801 Magnolia Street, Orangeburg, South Carolina. Be inspired by keynote speaker Lady Sarah Priester as we uplift, educate, and empower women and girls. Vendors and sponsors get involved. Visit www.girlempowermentday.com for more information. She leads, she speaks, she inspires. Don't miss this life-changing event.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
Hello, everybody. It's Finkley of The Michael Finkley Show, and you're watching Gold right now. Why? You're watching The Tammy Show. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Listen, I told you we've got a great show planned for you. You know, we have some phenomenal folks on the show today. We have the co-authors of the South Carolina's Matilda Evans, a medical pioneer book. And I tell you what, this is such a very special book because it talks about an African-American woman, a Black woman who was a physician in South Carolina, the first Black physician, female in South Carolina. So I'm going to introduce to you Dr. Walter B. Curry, publisher, historian, Miss Anusha Ghosh, medical student, and then, of course, Mrs. Beverly Aiken, the granddaughter of Matilda A. Evans. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it is so great to see you. Thank you all so much for being on this show. You know, when I received this call from Dr. Walter Curry, it's almost like when he calls, you know what they used to say about E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton calls you, what you listen, you pick up the phone, you listen. And so, Dr. Curry, thank you so much for introducing this book and also for sending the book for me to have an opportunity to read it. So we're going to get started, folks. I want to find out from each one of you what made you want to write this book. And I'm going to start with you, Dr. Curry, because I know the connection that you have with the family and all of that. So I'm going to start with you, and then we're going to go to Mrs. Beverly and then to Anusha.
Well, first, Tammy, I just want to thank you for inviting us on this wonderful show. We appreciate the support and the opportunity to share the legacy of Dr. Matilda Evans. And I was introduced to Dr. Evans from a fellow family historian, and she was doing research about Dr. Evans in Eastern Aiken County. And she shared with me that Dr. Curry, have you ever heard of this woman named Matilda Evans? I said, no. And she said, well, you need to find out who she is. And so I did some research and found out that Dr. Evans was the first African American female and first female in the state of South Carolina to receive a medical license. And I was like, this woman is remarkable. And so I was in the cemetery at our family church, Smyrna Missionary Baptist Church, on my mother's side, near Springfield, South Carolina, in Eastern Aiken County. And I walked the graves, and I noticed several headstones of familiarity. And so I noticed Dr. Evans' father, Anderson Evans, her stepmother, Mary Evans. I was like, oh my God, this is Dr. Evans' father and stepmother buried right here. And the graves are still fresh. And then I walked a few yards down and I saw the graves of Dr. Evans' grandmother, Edith Willis Corley, who married Harry Corley. And Harry Corley is my ancestor, Lavinia Corley Thompson, half brother. They had the same mother, Phyllis Corley's, but different fathers. And then next to Edith's grave was Dr. Evans' uncle, George Corley. So I was able to identify the family connections. And then I was looking at the old church history of Smyrna Missionary Baptist Church. And I found that Dr. Evans' mother, Harriet Corley Evans, was one of the founders of Smyrna Missionary Baptist Church. The church was founded in 1873. And so fast forward, I looked online on the South Carolina State Legislature website, and I do that from time to time to see what legislation is pending for my interest. And so I Googled Dr. Evans' name and saw that Senator Mia McLeod introduced a resolution to honor Dr. Evans. And so I reached out to her, and about a few months later, she called me through her assistant and said that Dr. Curry, you're connected to the family of Dr. Evans. We have her resolution. Will you pick it up? And I said, well, let me reach out to Dr. Evans' family. And so I did a Google search on Facebook, and I was able to locate my cousin, Beverly Aiken Muhammad, who is the eldest granddaughter of Dr. Matilda Evans. And I text her and told her that I'm Dr. Curry. We're related. We talked. We hit it off. And her and her family got the resolution. And since then, we have been on a remarkable journey together. And we did our first activity with in Aiken County. We did a press release, a story about Dr. Evans to get her name more familiar in Aiken County. And then I was introduced to Anusha through Dr. Bobby Donaldson, and Anusha wrote her thesis on Dr. Evans. And so we all came together and we produced this great book about
Wow.
her
Wow.
life.
Wow, that's exciting. I mean, because now all three of you are connected and well connected. So Mrs. Beverly Aiken Muhammad, talk about why it was important for you to write this book about your grandmother.
I was so happy to meet Dr. Curry and Anusha, um, and their interest in my grandmother really inspired me very, very deeply. It made me to rethink, reflect, reset, review, and reorder her legacy. Because my grandmother was a remarkable woman. She wasn't just a doctor who got her medical license in 1897 in the state of South Carolina, but she built two hospitals. She started a prestigious nursing school. An article in the South Carolina State paper in the year 1910 was written entitled The Brainiest Negro in South Carolina. And growing up, my mother is Maddie. Dr. Evans had six children. My mother is Maddie. And I never got to meet Dr. Evans because she passed away before I was born. But my mother kept her living legacy alive and instructed us, taught us not only about her, but what we could be if we followed in her footsteps. So, of course, our history is often not told, often unknown. So, when the opportunity presented itself that we could reintroduce Dr. Evans to the world, I was very on board with it. And I'm very grateful to God for the privilege to have lived this long to participate in this.
Wow, how exciting is that? And so Anusha Ghosh, you're the medical student. So you wrote your paper on this. You did your research on Dr. Matilda Evans. Talk about the importance for you, what that means for you to be a part of this publication.
Yes, so I stumbled upon Dr. Matilda Evans when I decided to take a medical history course, my first semester of college. I wrote my I kind of fell in love with her legacy then. I also did research on the Good Samaritan Waverly Hospital, which is a local hospital in the Columbia area where Dr. Matilda Evans actually did her last surgery. And I, really wanted to explore that history more. So I made it my full, undergraduate thesis. I spent 3 years researching, going to the Caroliniana Library and looking at the original archives, as well as scrolling through all of the preserved newspapers of this state. And, you know, one of the reasons why this research became so important to me is as I, continued diving deep into the legacy of Dr. Evans, I realized how well she represents the field of medicine and how well she represents what healthcare can do for a community. She not only, cared about her community, but she made sure that every single one of their needs were met in and outside of the clinic. She founded a farm to provide healthy food and, social gatherings for her community. She established a child's clinic to provide free vaccinations to the children of Colombia who otherwise do not have access to those resources. She's a living legacy of what, every doctor should aspire to be. And, it's very emotional for me because yes, I did this research as an undergraduate student, but I didn't necessarily let go of that research when I became a medical student. I have applied it in every leg of my medical education. I was able to do a presentation as a medical student for the Office of Civil Rights, and I even did a presentation for for the history society at the School of Medicine, and then next year there's going to be a mandatory presentation on the legacy of Dr. Matilda Evans and the Good Samaritan Waverly Hospital for all of the first year medical students. So it's it's I'm able to just because one medical student decided to do the research and connect with the ancestors of Dr. Evans, I've been really able to make strides to make sure her voice is heard and is remembered.
Wow. Wow. And this just speaks so much to Dr. Evans. And I like what you said, Anusha, about giving you the principles, the feeling, the knowing of having this legacy of her being that innovator. Because the more I read about her, the things that she did, they were unheard of. We're talking about the 1800s. We're talking about when African Americans, and then we're talking about Black people that weren't able to read. They weren't able to do a whole lot of things. And then to have this innovation come along with vaccines, hospital, teaching young women about nursing, about how to take care of people. And that's what it's all about. So, Dr. Curry, when you were thinking about this, how did you put all this information together? Because as I look at this, there is so much about Dr. Matilda that you could have written a book this thick, right? But how did you all condense what you had into this book, which I find, and Willie, can we show it of this trailblazer so that people will be able to see the book, and so they'll be able to know it as I'm touching and feeling the book. What did you all have to do to really put it together and say, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that, no, we're going to leave that out? How did you pull this together?
That's a great question. As a historian, you have to look at the information and how the information is presented. And so what we did, we relied on oral accounts, especially with cousin Beverly and her experiences and what she remembered about Dr. Evans, her research, Anusha research, my research. And so we decided to focus on key events that could connect readers to Dr. Evans. Those key events included news articles that reference entrepreneur. And so we relied on primary and secondary sources, but we also used historical context to bring Dr. Evans' achievements, her remarkable events, and her life in a context way that readers can fully comprehend Dr. Evans' biography.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I love about the book is that you did take the time to go through family, then her education, then all of her accomplishments, and down to her medical license, to receive her medical license in the state of South Carolina, and then also her civic advocate and entrepreneurship, and then of course her last days, which was very important because that's the legacy that she's leaving. So Beverly, talk about your grandmother. As your mother told you, what was one of the first things that your mother said to you about your grandmother, Dr. Matilda Evans, that resonates with you now? Ms. Beverly? She froze.
One of the most important things, first I'd like to say why we wrote the book. I founded a foundation, the Dr. Matilda Evans Educational Foundation, and it has lots of information, and it's an avenue by which we can either also gather more information, because there's a lot more that we were not able to put in the book, but also to inspire young people in her footsteps. But what impressed me, or what I remember as a young child, is growing up among my family members who worked for and with Dr. Evans. That's number one. All her children, her girls, on page 70 in our book is my mother on the far right side and my mother's sister on the far left side. Those are two daughters of the 6 children that Dr. Evans had. And all of them with making her work successful. But not only the family, the entire Waverly community in Columbia, South Carolina. So my early childhood was filled with things that we had to do to service the community. It was very important that we all participated in her mission. That's my early memories of that, how we
Wow.
all got together and we had fun, but we also worked very hard to continue her legacy.
Wow. And you've done a wonderful job. So, if you all sit tight, we're going to take a commercial break. And then when we come back, I want to talk and just ask you about what is it that you want young people to glean from this? Young and old. And when I say old, I mean more mature adults. What would you like people to really glean from this book? All right. We'll be right back. We're going to take a break. Thank you. We'll be right back, folks.
Because I'm great.
The Orangeburg County Conference Center supports downtown Orangeburg and our surrounding communities. The 6,000 plus square foot space is ideal for groups of up to 400 people attending corporate meetings, conventions, workshops, and special events. Conference Center staff are inspired to ensure that everyone can enjoy the modern amenities. State-of-the-art ballroom that accommodates up to 400 guests banquet style and 430 guests theater style. A warming kitchen with hot boxes, ice machine, refrigerator, freezer, and counter space. A lobby that accommodates 150 guests with special events outdoors. The comfortable outdoor amphitheater has a video wall and seating. Adjacent to the amphitheater is 12,000 plus square feet of green space that extends events outside, plus complimentary on-site event parking and additional parking across the street. Your event can take place all in one spectacular location. We welcome your special event in Orangeburg.
Hey, you're watching The Tammy Show. And remember to keep it cool with me, AC.
Okay, if you're just joining us, we are back on the show with the co-authors of the South Carolina's Matilda Evans, a medical pioneer. This book written by Dr. Walter B. Curry Jr., Miss Anusha Ghosh, and of course, the granddaughter, Mrs. Beverly Aiken Muhammad. Thank you all again for being on the show. In the second half, as I said, we were moving into second half. But before I ask that question about what you want them to glean, there are two things that come to mind. One is Mrs. Beverly, you have established the Dr. Matilda A. Evans Foundation, LLC. Can you just tell us a little bit about your organization?
The Educational Foundation was started to uplift the legacy of Dr. Evans, to inspire also people of all ages, young people, on how to gain and maintain a mindset that you can learn until the day you die, and you can serve people of all colors, race, creed, and do some good in this world before you leave. So, with the Educational Foundation, we are hoping to expand worldwide the legacy of Dr. Matilda Evans. We are still building and we are brand new, but we look forward to great things to come out of it. And we certainly appreciate your support. If you will go to the Dr. Matilda A. Evans Educational Foundation on Google, you can come in and read even more things that we did not include in the book.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
on the website. So I hope that people will be inspired to visit and visit often.
Yes, yes. And Dr. Curry, this has been an important aspect for you because you are a historian. And so there's one thing that I did not ask you, and that was about the other people, African American individuals who engaged and endorsed Dr. Matilda Evans' work. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that before we go? Dr. Curry, I don't know if you're on mute. Uh,
Yes, I'm sorry
okay.
about that. There were two prominent African American figures who endorsed Dr. Evans' work, Booker T. Washington and Dr. George Washington Carver. In Booker T. Washington's autobiography, Up from Slavery, he wrote about meeting Dr. Evans at her hospital, Taylor Lane Hospital in Columbia. He had the location mixed up because he assumed that Taylor Lane was in Orangeburg. But he also wrote that Dr. Evans' maternal former slave master children and their descendants were patients of Dr. Evans. And so Dr. Evans had a diverse group of patients who she provided medical care to. Um, there was Dr. George Washington Carver, who came to Columbia in 1934, and he was the keynote speaker for the fundraiser to raise money for the Evans Clinic that was spearheaded by Dr. Evans. And Dr. Evans had fundraisers at the Columbia Township Auditorium, which is still in existence today. And there was another prominent figure by the name of Cab Calloway, his famous Cotton Club Orchestra. He performed the song Hidey Hidey Hi, Hidey Hidey Ho. He too was part of a fundraising event for the Evans Clinic. And so these three prominent African American historical figures saw the value in the work of Dr. Evans.
Oh, wow. And so that means she was, as we say, she was worldwide. Because when you think
Yes,
about somebody like Cab Calloway and Booker T. Washington, and people knew them all over the world, basically. And so, I mean, I'm going to come to you with that last question when I opened before we went to the break. What is it that you want the viewers and young people to glean from the book?
Yes, absolutely. Whenever I was able to look at the finished product of the book, it was very, very impactful to see all of our, research work, accumulated into one incredible book. What impacted me the most, however, were some of the notes in the beginning. That's where Mrs. Beverly Macon Muhammad, she called me, her family throughout this process.
Oh,
And uh, you know, I think that history preservation is very, very incredibly important. But I would like, people my age to understand how significant, preserving history is to your soul, to your ancestry, but also in making connections within the community that you're in. Because, if we continue, there's so much history that goes to waste every day. There's so much family history, in this family alone, you're able to uncover hundreds of pages of archives. Imagine the family history of all the South Carolinians, Colombians, in this community, especially in the historic Waverly district. I really think that, as a community looking into history preservation, finding pride within your family and within your ancestry is something that I would really like to promote, especially amongst my generations.
Right. And then also thinking about that, Anisha, with young people who are contemplating going into the medical field, especially children of color.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just excited for you all. It is so great to talk with you. We could be on here for over an hour, maybe two, but we don't have that. Do want you, Dr. Curry, to talk about the event that's coming up, because we want people to be able to come and be there and learn more about the three of you and the book that you all have created.
Yes, the event will take place at the Orangeburg County Historical Society, 1421 Middleton Street, Orangeburg, South Carolina, Sunday, June 22nd at 3 o'clock p.m. We will engage in a panel discussion. The panel discussion will be moderated by yours truly. Thank you, Ms. McCarthy, for agreeing to serve as the moderator. And we will have displays. We will have the copies of the original license of Dr. Evans, her original medical license. We will also bring in her medical equipment, and so I'm gonna have to clean that up. We will also have books for sale, and the book South Carolina Matilda Evans, a Medical Pioneer, will be available for sale for $24.99. And we will also have copies of the original medical license of Dr. Evans for sale at $20. And so this is a keepsake for people to get a piece of her history, her story. I just found out that we have reserved for 40 people. So the event has been sold out. In fact, during a meeting that I had today, the executive director of the Orangeburg County Historical Society told me that the event was sold out in the first 3 days. And that was because yes, because of the collective effort of all of us. You've been promoting, I've been promoting, you, Anusha, cousin Beverly. So it takes a team effort to promote events. And so the society decided to sell additional tickets, and there were 10. And by yesterday, that the only ticket was sold. And so we sold out again. And wow. Yes. So we are expecting a huge crowd on this coming Sunday. So if folks decide to come, there may be some seats available. The seating is not the problem. It's just the space. And the society has a very small space. And so hopefully they can provide additional seating. However, we will be doing some events in Orangeburg and surrounding communities. So those who won't be able to make it on this Sunday, we ask that you all continue to follow us through our Facebook handles. Also, we will continue to promote the book, and you can also purchase the book through Amazon, Barnes & Noble. The Dr. Matilda Evans Foundation, LLC, has a website. You could purchase the book from there. And also my website at www.renaissancepubllc.com.
Wow. Listen, I tell you, this is so exciting. And again, I want to thank you all for inviting me to be your moderator for this Sunday. It truly is an honor. And I'll tell you all about that when we see each other, why this is so special to me. This medical book is very, very special to me. And so my last question that I always ask, but I want to ask it a different way. I always ask for 3 words to describe each of you, but I'm going to ask you because we're talking about Dr. Matilda A. Evans. I want you to tell me, each of you, I want you to give me your 3 words that describe Dr. Matilda A. Evans. And I'll start with you, Anusha, because you are shaking your head. You're ready, girl.
Yes. So if I had to choose 3 words, I would definitely do compassionate, because she carried so much compassion for her patients, to a level where she really, really extended herself to make sure that she was meeting all of their needs. Another word I would use is driven, because she was very much driven by the love of the Waverly community, and to make sure that her community was taken care of. Even so much that even her ancestors are carrying that legacy and that love. And then my third word would be brave, because, she, as a Black woman physician, she was certainly facing prejudice during her time as a physician, especially in South Carolina, which was one of the most hostile environments for Black women at that time. And she was incredibly brave to return back to South Carolina, because she was eventually going to go to Africa as a missionary, but she came back to Columbia, South Carolina, to serve her people. And so I think that was very incredibly brave of her. And all of these are qualities that I really, really hope to emit throughout my life.
Wow, that's compassionate, driven, and brave. And so, Dr. Curry, I'm going to go with you. And then, of course, I'm going to save the granddaughter for last because she's family too. All right.
Yes, yes, yes. The 3 words that I have, visionary. Dr. Evans was truly a remarkable visionary. She saw a vision for her career to advance quality health care to all people, regardless of race and socioeconomic background. The second word is intentional. And Tammy, I like what you said early on in the beginning of the show about being intentional. And so what Dr. Evans did, she was someone who saw a problem and she was intentional in solving the problems that she saw through her vision. And so when you read the book, you would definitely see intentional as an occurring theme. The third and final word is leadership. Dr. Evans was a community leader, and Cousin Beverly, she could tell you a lot about her leadership ability because I see it in her, I see it in Anusha, I see it in you, Tammy, and all of us. But one of the things that she did, just want to point out, in 1917, the United States entered into World War I, and there was a draft of African American soldiers. And so when those soldiers went to France, they came back home. They were not recognized formally by the United States government because of racism. And so France recognized them, and France gave awards to several African American veterans who served during World War I. But around that time, Dr. Evans and the members of the community participated in a meeting at Second Calvary Baptist Church here in Columbia to raise money to erect an African American World War I veteran memorial on the State House grounds. And so you think about Dr. Evans, her leadership in bringing people together. One incident that occurred during her lifetime when the city of Columbia had an issue of Black women being out late. And so Dr. Evans would participate in community meetings. And so her input was valued. And so they asked Dr. Evans a question, what would you do to address the plight of Black women staying out late. She said that churches needed to open late to prevent Black women from staying out late. Okay. And so they took her perspective, her idea, and churches during that time began to start their services in the afternoon. And so when I think about Dr. Evans, I think about her being a visionary, someone who was intentional, and someone who was a courageous leader.
Wow, courageous leader. All right. And Mrs. Beverly Aiken Muhammad, granddaughter of Dr. Matilda A. Evans, your final words about the last three words that you are going to tell us about your grandmother.
Yes, thank you. My grandmother was very dedicated to her mission. She had clarity to her mission, and that clarity motivated her dedication. She was unwavering, meaning that she not only went to the boundaries, she went and established a cutting edge legacy. Because when you read about Dr. Evans, you see that she not only stayed within the norm of the day to do what Black people were supposed to do, she reached beyond. And in reaching beyond, she established cutting edge legacy that in this day and time, I really don't see comparatively what she did when you consider the time and what must be done today. And I must say that she was very intelligent. And she fed her intelligence with being educated. Her intelligence never starved for information. Dr. Evans had a broad vision, that's true, but she had a vision that did not leave one soul behind. And for example, when my cousin Walter was talking about Cab Calloway, the College Inn, one of the restaurants that Dr. Evans opened up for students at Benedict College in Allen home, is in the Green Book. And you know, the Green Book was where Black people could go during times of intense segregation. So I would say my last three words for her, but not that she's just my grandmother and I'm extremely proud of her and the family, is strongly dedicated. Dr. Evans is. She has the tenacity to be a cutting edge person. She is an unsung hero. And I hope and pray that this is just a sunrise for the world to see the full fulfillment of a day's glory of Dr. Matilda A. Evans. I thank God sincerely for her, and I will leave you with my final words. Dr. Matilda A. Evans is my grandmother, but her legacy belongs to each one of us that breathes on God's beautiful planet. Oh. Thank you, and thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you so much. We're going to end on that. I tell you what, I am so blessed by having the three of you on. This has been a blessing. Thank you so very much for joining the show. I mean, I'm going to remember that, a legacy for all of us. I remember that till the day I die. But I tell you, that is just wonderful. Thank you, Mrs. Beverly Aiken Muhammad. Thank you so much, Miss Anusha Ghosh. And of course, Dr. Walter B. Curry Jr., thank you for being on the show. And I'll see you all on Sunday. Yeah, have a blessed evening. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Listen, I tell you what, this was great. I mean, if you want to learn about history, and then in South Carolina, Dr. Matilda A. Evans, we have it right here. This is the South Carolina's Matilda Evans, a medical pioneer. You have to have this on your bookshelf. I'm telling you, you have to have it. This is one of those table books that you must have, and it's a must read. Okay. All right. So I want to thank the co-authors again. I want to thank Dr. Walter B. Curry. Also want to thank Miss Anusha Ghosh. And of course, I want to thank Mrs. Beverly Aiken Muhammad, the granddaughter of Dr. Matilda A. Evans. And, I got to thank my associate producer, Willie. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I want to say special thanks to T-Vision Network, as always, and the Dream Studio. I want you to remember, please subscribe to the Tammy TV show. That's going on YouTube at the Tammy TV show. Remember, you hit that red subscribe button and it will notify you. And I always say, let's be a blessing to somebody today and every day. Remember, there's someone out there who needs to hear from you, someone who needs to see a smile, and someone that you can encourage by calling them up and saying, how are you doing? Are you okay? So check on your neighbor. Again, thank you for being here with me on the show. I want to thank my guests. And again, until the next time, we've got a great show next week. So just sit back and we'll be right back with it. And I love you all. And I want you to take care of yourself and be safe. Until the next time, take care. Bye-bye.